Hi guys, once again welcome back to Rivora Tube. Hope all of you are doing great, eating healthy and staying safe. Sapno Ke Se Din, written by Gurdayal Singh and taken from grade 10 textbook Sanchayan part 2. One of my little subscribers had asked me to explain this lesson, so it's dedicated to her and all of the children who would like to know about this lesson. A beautiful lesson. It's sometimes, we can relate it back to not the present generation, I suppose, long back. The author, he thinks of all the days that he had passed as a child, playing all around and enjoying life as a child. It's a very interesting lesson. You will get an insight into, certain areas where children, they totally and freely play. They just literally enjoy the life of a child. Okay, let's start with the lesson. Sapno Ke Se Din by Gurdayal Singh Ji. Sapne means dreams and din means days. Those days which were like dreams. मेरे साथ खेलने वाले सभी बच्चों का हाल एक सा होता. Here the author says, all those children who used to play with me, their conditions used to be just like me or just similar. Here hal means condition. Now children, first I'll be telling you the meaning of the sentence and then the meaning of the difficult words. नंगे पांव फटी मैली सी कच्छी और टूटे बटनों वाले कई जगह से फटे कुर्ते और बिखरे बाल. Here the author is explaining the condition of the children who with whom he used to play, including himself. Nange pav, the it's naked feet, that is they never used to wear slippers. Fati मैली सी कच्छी, that is their shorts which were till the knees, they were all torn and full of dirt. Or टूटे बटनों वाले कई जगह से फटे कुर्ते, and their long shirts, they used to be torn from at many places, and hair used to be shabby. Nange pav means naked feet without slippers or shoes. Fati meli, fati means torn and mali means dirty. Kachi means those long briefs, long back people used to wear. Or टूटे बटनों वाले, broken buttons they had their dresses. Kurte means long shirt. बिखरे बाल means shabby hair, not combed properly. जब लकड़ी के ढेर पर चढ़कर खेलते, नीचे को भागते, तो गिरकर कई तो न जाने कहां कहां चोट खा लेते और पहले ही फटे पुराने कुर्ते तार तार हो जाते. Now, children, when I'm reading the lesson, whatever muhavres come or idioms come, I'm just circling them with a red line so that it's easy for you to identify that that is a muhavra. All of you have to learn all the muhavras because you may be getting them in the exam. Okay, so here tar tar hona, the meaning of this muhavra is to tear into small bits. When these children, they used to climb piles of logs and they would run from there down, most of them used to get hurt here and there. And whatever dresses they had, it was already torn. By falling like this, they further tear into small bits. Lakdi ke dher means pile of logs. Girkar means after falling. Chot kha lete means they would get hurt. Fate purane, old and torn. Tar tar ho jate, as I told you, it's a muhavra. It means to tear it into small pieces. धूल भरे कई जगह से छिले पांव, पिंडलियां या लहू के ऊपर जमी रेत मिट्टी से लथपथ घुटने लेकर जाते, तो सभी की मां बहनें उन पर थरस खाने की जगह और पिटाई करती. Now these children, they would be full of dust, and they would have their skin peeled on their legs at many places. Their shanks, it would, or the knee part, it is full of blood. By they would have fallen down and got themselves injured, and again they continue playing without caring for that, and so it becomes full of mud and sand, and these become soaked with mud and sand, and In this condition, when they go home, their mothers and sisters, instead of feeling pity for them, they just end up beating them. They rather, feel that they did not take care of themselves. That is the reason why they have ended up like this, and so they get angry and they beat them up. Dhool bhare means full of dust. Kai jagah se chile paam, the legs in which the skin is peeled off at many places. Pindilia means shank, the area between knees and the ankle. Lahu means blood. Reth means sand and mitti means soil. Latpat means it's soaked up with that. And here ghutna means knees. I hope I'm clear to you, children. Baap bade gusaile the, and the father of some of the children were very short-tempered. Gusaile means short-tempered. पीटने लगते तो यह ध्यान भी न रखते कि छोटे बच्चे के नाक मुंह से लहू बहने लगा है या उसके कहाँ चोट लगी है. They used to be so short-tempered that they immediately would start beating them, and they wouldn't bother to see that the child is already bleeding from his nose and mouth. And they wouldn't even see where he has been hurt. They would just start beating them, telling them why they didn't take care of themselves. परंतु इतनी बुरी पिटाई होने पर भी दूसरे दिन फिर खेलने चले आते. But the interesting part is that in spite of getting beaten up so badly, next day again all the children would reach to play again. यह बात तब ठीक से समझ आई जब स्कूल अध्यापक बनने के लिए एक ट्रेनिंग करने गया और वहां बाल मनोविज्ञान का विषय पढ़ा. This I could understand only when, in order to become a teacher, I went for a training and there I studied the subject of child psychology. Bal Manovigyan means child psychology, Vishay means subject. ऐसी बातों के बारे में तभी जान पाया कि बच्चों को खेलना क्यों इतना अच्छा लगता है, कि बुरी तरह पिटाई होने पर भी फिर खेलने चले आते हैं. The author says when he studied this subject of child psychology, he came to know why, in spite of being beaten up so badly, children again come down to play. मेरे साथ खेलने वाले अधिकतर साथी हमारे जैसे ही परिवारों के हुआ करते. Most of the children who used to play with me belonged to the same kind of families that I was from. सारे मोहल्ले में बहुत परिवार तो हमारी तरह आसपास के गांव से ही आकर बसे थे. In the entire street, most of them, they had come and settled from nearby villages. आसपास के गांव से means from nearby villages. 2-3 घर साथ की उजड़ी सी गली में रहने वाले लोगों के थे. And 2 or 3 houses belonged to people who were from nearby deserted street. उजड़ी सी गली means a deserted nearby street. हमारी सभी की आदतें भी कुछ मिलती जुलती थी. Even our habits were somewhat similar. उनमें से अधिक तो स्कूल जाते ही न थे. जो कभी गए भी पढ़ाई में रुचि न होने के कारण किसी दिन बस्ता तालाब में फेंक आए और फिर स्कूल गए ही नहीं. न ही माँ बाप ने जबरदस्ती भेजा. Majority of them never used to go to school, and those who went, because they lacked interest in studies, one fine day they threw their bag into the pond and they never went to school again. Even their parents did not force them to go to school. So this was the background of the children who used to play with the author. Now children, here basta means school bag, talab means pond, जबरदस्ती means forcibly. यहां तक कि परचूनिए आढ़तिए भी अपने बच्चों को स्कूल भेजना जरूरी न समझते. परचूनिए आढ़तिए means these shopkeepers, retailers, even they did not consider it necessary to send children to school. कभी किसी स्कूल अध्यापक से बात होती तो कहते, मास्टर जी, हमने इसे क्या तहसीलदार लगवाना है? If at all they happened to meet a school teacher, they would tell him, "Oh, master, we don't really want to make him an inspector." Tehsildar means inspector. थोड़ा बड़ा हो जाए तो पंडित घनश्याम दास से लंडे पढ़वाकर दुकान पर बहिया लिखने लगा लेंगे. Once he grows up a little, we'll make him learn accountancy or finance from Pandit Ghanshyam Das, and we'll make him an accountant in the shop. That is what the parents used to tell the teachers if at all they had to meet the teachers. So what they meant to say is that that's why they never bothered to send the children to school. पंडित 6-8 महीने में लंडे और मुनीमी का सभी काम सिखा देगा. And they told the teacher that the Pandit will teach them all finance and accountancy within 6 to 8 months. वहां तो अभी तक अलिफ बे जीम च भी सीख नहीं पाया. In the school, my son or the child has not yet been able to learn even the very basics. So these were the reasons that the parents used to give to the teachers as when he would ask them why they are not sending the children to the school. हमारे आधे से अधिक साथी राजस्थान या हरियाणा से आकर मंडी में व्यापार या दुकानदारी करने आए परिवारों से थी. Most of our friends, more than half of our friends, they belonged to families which had come from Rajasthan and Haryana, and they were doing some or the other kind of business in the market, or they were running a shop. Sathi means friends, Mandi means market, Vyapar means business, and Dukandari means shop, running a shop. जब बहुत छोटे थे तो उनकी बोली कम समझ पाते थे. Now these people, the author used to speak Punjabi. So when these people had come from Rajasthan and Haryana, so when he was small, he could never understand their language. बोली means language. उनके कुछ शब्द सुनकर हमें हंसी आने लगती. Listening to certain words of theirs, we used to feel like laughing. परंतु खेलते तो सभी एक दूसरे की बात खूब अच्छी तरह समझ लेते. But while playing, language was never an issue for us. We always used to understand each other very well. पता भी नहीं चला कि लोकोक्ति अनुसार एह खेड़न दे दिन चार कैसे कब बीत गए. Now there is a proverb which says the days of fun or playing is only few. It's only 4 days. And the author says they never knew how these days just passed away. हम में here eh kheden de din char children, it is a Punjabi proverb. Okay. हम में से कोई भी ऐसा ना था जो स्कूल के कमरे में बैठकर पढ़ने को कैद ना समझता हो. From among us, there was nobody who would not consider it as being imprisoned if we were in the rooms in the school. They all thought that it's like, being imprisoned when they would sit in the rooms of the school. Kaid means imprisoned. कुछ अपने माँ बाप के साथ जैसा भी था काम करने लगे. Now these children, because they did not go to school, whatever work their parents used to be engaged in, they also started doing the same work. बचपन में घास अधिक हरी और फूलों की सुगंध अधिक मनमोहन लगती है. In childhood, the grass always appears greener and the aroma of flowers, it's always very adorable or it feels very attractive. Here, घास means grass, sugandh means aroma or flavor, मनमोहक means attractive or adorable. यह शब्द शायद आधी शती पहले किसी पुस्तक में पढ़े थे, परंतु आज तक याद है. I think I had read these words half a century back in some book, but even today I remember that. The author says this. Adhi shati means half a century. Shati means century. याद रहने का कारण यही है कि यह वाक्य बचपन की भावनाओं सोच समझ के अनुकूल होगा. Now the author tells the reason. Why does he remember these words that बचपन में घास अधिक हरी और फूलों की सुगंध अधिक मनमोहन लगती है? What is the reason? Why does he still remember 50 years later? He says the reason is that these words are very favorable, or these suit the emotions of childhood and the way you think in childhood. They very much suit them. बचपन की भावनाएं means childhood emotions. सोच समझ means thinking. अनुकूल means favorable or suiting. परंतु स्कूल के अंदर जाने से रास्ते के दोनों ओर जो अलियार के बड़े बड़े ढंग से कटे छांटे झाड़ उगे थे, जिन्हें हम डंडिया कहा करते, उनके नीम के पत्तों जैसे पत्तों की महक आज तक भी आंख मूंद कर महसूस कर सकता हूं. Author says when he used to go to school, as you enter the school, on both the sides of the path, there used to be bushes of dandia, a bush called dandia. It's an Indian medicinal plant in which there are beautiful red small flowers. So the author says on both sides of the path, these bushes were neatly trimmed and then they were grown. The smell of the leaves of these plants, they were just like neem leaves smell. And even today, he can feel the smell, or he can feel the aroma of those leaves by closing his eyes or with closed eyes. Aliyar means, as the author said, it's a plant called dandia. It is an Indian medicinal bush. Kate chante jhad means trimmed bushes. Neem ke patte means neem leaves. Mehek, aroma. आंख मूंद कर means with closed eyes. महसूस कर सकता हूं means I can feel. उन दिनों स्कूल की छोटी क्यारियों में फूल भी कई तरह के उगाए जाते थे, जिनमें गुलाब, गेंदा और मोतिया की दूध सी सफेद कलियां भी हुआ करती. In those days, in the small flower beds in the school, many flowers were grown. Among them, rose flowers, Genda means marigold, and jasmine flowers, and the white color of the buds of the jasmine flowers also used to be there. Here children, choti kyariya means flower beds, choti means small, Genda means marigold, and motia means jasmine. Doodh si safed kaliya means, buds which were as safed or as white as milk. ये कलियां इतनी सुंदर और खुशबूदार होती थीं कि हम चंदू चपड़ासी से आंख बचाकर कभी कभार एक दो तोड़ लिया करते. Now children, here आंख बचाकर, it's a मुहावरा, idiom. So it means to avoid someone being seen by someone. किसी की निगाहों से बचकर रहना. These buds, they were so beautiful and aromatic that these children, they would avert, the peon Chandu's eyes, and they would pluck them. One or two buds, they would just pluck. And it was the peon Chandu who was responsible for taking care of these flower beds. And they had to hide from him and pluck these buds because they were so beautiful and so aromatic. उनकी बहुत तेज सुगंध आज भी महसूस कर पाता हूं, परंतु यह याद नहीं कि उन्हें तोड़कर कुछ देर सूंघकर फिर क्या किया करते. I can feel the aroma of those buds of jasmine even today, but I don't remember after plucking them, after smelling them for some time, what I used to do with them. The author doesn't remember that, and then he tells the reason what he might have done. शायद जेब में डाल लेते, माँ उसे धोने के समय निकालकर बाहर फेंक देती, या हम ही स्कूल से बाहर आते उन्हें बकरी के मेमनों की भांति चर जाया करते. Now the author tells what he might have had done with these buds of those flowers, especially jasmine flowers. Maybe he used to put it in his pocket, and then while washing clothes, his mother would throw them away. Or maybe he himself, after coming out from the school, just like the small lambs of goats, he would eat them up. He just doesn't remember what he used to do with them. जब अगली श्रेणी में दाखिल होते तो एक और तो कुछ बड़े सयाने होने के एहसास से उत्साहित भी होते, परंतु दूसरी ओर नई पुरानी कॉपियों किताबों से जाने कैसी बात आती कि उन्हीं मास्टरों के डर से कांपने लगते जो पिछली श्रेणी में पढ़ा चुके होते. Now the author talks about his feelings when he's, or their feelings, the feelings of all the children when they used to go to the enter the next grade. It's a mixed feeling. He says that on one side, they used to feel great and excited about getting bigger, growing bigger, and becoming more mature. But on the other hand, or the other end, they used to, the smell that used to emanate from the old notebooks and the textbooks somewhat used to make them fear those teachers who have been teaching them in the earlier grades, and they used to be very scared of those teachers because at that time like teachers, they used to beat or hit or scold children very badly. So there was a feeling, mixed feeling in the children when they used to enter the higher grades. Agli Shreni means next grade. Dakhil hote means when they enter. Sayane means mature or growing up. Ke ehsaas se, that feeling. Utsahit, excited. Bas here, children, means the smell of old notebooks and textbooks. Fine. तब स्कूल में शुरू साल में 1.5 महीना पढ़ाई हुआ करती, फिर 1.5-2 महीने की छुट्टियां शुरू हो जाया करती थी. In those days, in the beginning of the year, there used to be school for 1.5 months, and then later on there would be 2.5 months of holidays. Maybe they used to be summer holidays because back in India, in April the school starts, and in June the summer holiday, June July the summer holidays start. So for 1.5 months they go to school and then their holidays start. अब तक जो बात अच्छी तरह याद है वह छुट्टियों के पहले और आखिरी दिनों का फर्क था. The author says the only thing which he remembers very well even today is that the difference between the days of the beginning of the holidays and the days of the end of the holidays. पहले 2-3 सप्ताह तो खूब खेल कूद हुआ करती. The first 2-3 weeks they would literally play day and night. सप्ताह means week. हर साल ही माँ के साथ ननिहाल चले जाते. Now children, Nanihal means maternal grandma's house. So every day in the holidays the author used to go to his grandma's place. वहाँ नानी खूब दूध, दही, मक्खन खिलाती, बहुत प्यार करती. Now the author was almost in a city and his grandma was in a village. So when they, in the holidays, they go from city to the village, as in Punjab, you know, we have plenty of milk, curd, and butter. There, people eat all these things a lot. So when he used to go from city to his village, his grandma used to feed him with all this. Makhan means butter. छोटा सा पिछड़ा गांव था, परंतु तालाब हमारी मंडी के तालाब जितना ही बड़ा था. It was an old underdeveloped village, but the pond there was as big as the pond in their city. Pichra means not fully developed, backward. तालाब means pond. दोपहर तक तो उस तालाब में नहाते, फिर नानी से जो जी में आता मांगकर खाने लगते. Till afternoon, the author with his friends would take bath in the pond. And then afterwards, he would, whatever he felt like, he would ask his grandma and eat from her. नानी हमारे भोलने के ढंग या कम खाने के कारण बहुत खुश होती. And his grandma used to be very happy because of their style of talking and the amount of food that they ate. It was comparatively less. And अपने पोतों को हमारी तरह बोलने और खाने पीने को कहती. And she would ask her other grandsons to eat like him and to speak like him, because she used to feel that they've come from city and their style of talking and all was very different. पोते मीन्स grandchildren. जिस साल ननिहाल ना जा पाते उस साल भी अपने घर से थोड़ा बाहर तालाब पर चले जाते. And the year when we would not go to my grandma's place, we used to go to the pond which was outside our or a bit away from our house. कपड़े उतार पानी में कूद जाते और कुछ समय बाद भागते हुए एक रेतीले टीले पर जाकर रेत के ऊपर लेटने लगते. They would remove their clothes and just literally jump into the water, and after some time they would run and climb the sand dune near the pond. रेतीला टीला means sand dune और रेत के ऊपर लेटने लगता है, and they would just lie down on the sand. गीले शरीर को गर्म रेत से खूब लथपथ कर उसी तरफ भागते, किसी ऊंची जगह से तालाब में छलांग लगा देते. And they would just soak themselves with the sand, and then again they would run, and from some high area they would jump into the pond. छलांग लगा देते means they would jump. रेत को गंदले पानी से साफ कर फिर टीले की ओर भाग जाते. Now they would clean that sand with which they have soaked themselves with the muddy water of the pond, and then again they would run to the sand dune to again soak themselves with sand. याद नहीं कि ऐसा 5-10 बार करते या 15-20 बार. The author doesn't remember how many times, whether it was 5 to 10 times or 15 to 20 times that they used to repeat the same process. कई बार तालाब में कूदकर ऐसे हाथ पांव हिलाने लगते जैसे बहुत अच्छे तैराक हो. At times they would jump into the pond and they would move their hands and legs in such a way as if they were very good swimmers. तैराक means swimmers. परंतु एक दो को छोड़ मेरे किसी साथी को तैरना नहीं आता था. But leaving aside one or two, none of his friends knew to swim. कुछ तो हाथ पांव हिलाते हुए गहरे पानी में चले जाते. Few children, they would keep moving their hands and legs and they would get into deep water, which was so dangerous. At that time, दूसरे उन्हें बाहर आने के लिए किसी भैंस के सींग या दुम पकड़कर बाहर आने की सलाह देते. And when they get into this deep waters, the others, they suggest them to catch hold of a buffalo's horn or its tail and come out. Now, children, you should know that in villages, the same pond in which people take bath, even the buffaloes and other cattle, they just are given bath. So that is why here the author has mentioned that when these children get into deep waters, others suggest them to hold the horn of a buffalo or its tail and come out, because these buffaloes, they know to swim. They swim and they come to the edge of the pond. उन्हें ढांढस बंधाते. ढांढस बंधाते means they console them that way. कूदते समय मुंह में गंदला पानी भर जाता तो बुरी तरह खांसते. At times when we jump into the water, our mouth gets filled up with muddy water. Gandla pani means muddy water, and we start coughing badly. खांसना means to cough. कई बार ऐसा लगता कि सांस रुकने लगी है. At many times he used to feel that his breath has stopped. परंतु हाय हाय करते किसी न किसी तरह तालाब के किनारे पहुंच जाए. But somehow they would see to it that they reach the edge of the pond. So there were no accidents as such. फिर छुट्टियां बीतने लगती तो दिन गिनने लगते. Now the author is talking about how they used to enjoy their holidays. So first 2-3 weeks they would literally enjoy swimming in the pond and playing. But as the holidays come to an end, they start counting the days left to go to school. दिन गिनना means to count the days. प्रत्येक दिन डर बढ़ता चला जाता. And every day their fear used to keep on increasing. खेल कूद और तालाब में नहाना भी भूलने लगता. So as the days of approach of going to school, they even forget playing and taking bath in the pond. मास्टरों ने जो छुट्टियों में करने के लिए काम दिया होता उसका हिसाब लगाने लगते. I think children, most of us face this situation, right? We all have summer holidays homework, winter holiday homework, and we keep it pending till the last moment, and then in the end, we start counting the days. Same way, these children also used to do. मास्टरों ने जो छुट्टियों में करने के लिए काम दिया होता उसका हिसाब लगाने लगते. We start calculating how much of work has to be done with holiday homework. हिसाब means we used to start counting, calculating. जैसे हिसाब के मास्टर जी 200 से कम सवाल कभी न बताते. Our mathematics teacher would never give them a work which would be less than 100 questions. मन में हिसाब लगाते कि यदि 10 सवाल रोज निकाले तो 20 दिन में पूरे हो जाएंगे. And we used to calculate in our minds that okay, if every day I do 10 questions, we could finish it in 10 days. So that way 100 questions would be solved. सवाल means question, रोज निकाले means every day if they do. जब ऐसा सोचना शुरू करते तो छुट्टियों का 1 महीना बाकी हुआ करता. This they start thinking when 1 month of holidays would be left. एक एक दिन गिनते 10 दिन खेल कूद में और बीत जाते. This way we keep counting and another 10 days pass. स्कूल की पिटाई का डर और बढ़ने लगता. So now another 20 days are only left, and so the fear of getting beaten up in the school because of not doing the homework, it keeps increasing. पिटाई means to get beating. परंतु डर भुलाने के लिए सोचते कि 10 की क्या बात, सवाल तो 15 भी आसानी से रोज निकाले जा सकते हैं. But in order to forget that fear, the children start thinking, why to think about 10 questions? We can even do 15 questions a day, and by the time the holidays finish, we can finish our holiday homework. जब ऐसा हिसाब लगाने लगते तो छुट्टियां कम होते होते जैसे भागने लगती. So this is a time when we feel as if the holidays have started running. दिन बहुत छोटे लगने लगते. We feel as if the days are very short. ऐसा महसूस होता जैसे सूरज भागकर दोपहरी में ही छिप जाता हो. We feel as if the sun is setting in the afternoon itself. That is what the author means to say, is that they used to feel that the days are very very short. जैसे जैसे दिन छोटे होने लगते स्कूल का भय बढ़ने लगता. As the days becoming smaller, the fear of school keeps increasing. हमारे कितने ही सहपाठी ऐसे भी होते जो छुट्टियों का काम करने की बजाय मास्टरों की पिटाई अधिक सस्ता सौदा समझते. And we had many friends who used to consider that instead of doing the holiday homework, it's better to get beatings from the teachers. Sasta sauda means a cheap bargain, a better bargain. सहपाठी means friends. हम जो पिटाई से बहुत डरा करते उन बहादुरों की भांति ही सोचने लगते. And few of us who were very scared of beatings, we start thinking just like those brave children who compromise on getting beatings rather than doing the school homework. ऐसे समय हमारा सबसे बड़ा नेता ओमा हुआ करता. Now in such times their biggest leader used to be a boy called Oma. हम सभी उसके बारे में सोचते कि हमारे में उस जैसा कौन था. We always used to think as to who among us is just like that brave boy called Oma. कभी भी उस जैसा दूसरा लड़का नहीं ढूंढ पाते थे. And we were never able to search another boy like Oma. उसकी बातें, गालियां, मार पिटाई का ढंग तो अलग था ही. उसकी शक्ल सूरत भी सबसे अलग थी. His way of talking, the slang language that he used, and his face looks, it was very different from others. This boy used to look very different from others. हांडी जितना बड़ा सिर, उसके ठिकने 4 बलिष्ठ के शरीर पर ऐसा लगता जैसे बिल्ली के बच्चे के माथे पर तरबूज रखा हो. Here the author, he's giving a description about how that boy known as Oma used to look. He had a head as big as a pot. It's an earthen way in which cooking used to be done, but it is still done in villages and all. Handi means that pot. And he had a dwarf body, a short body. So here author says a big head on a short body used to look as if on the head of a kitten, a big watermelon has been kept. Here tarbooj means watermelon. इतने बड़े सिर में नारियल की सी आंखों वाला बंदरे के बच्चे जैसा चेहरा और भी अजीब लगता. Now the author says his eyes were just like the eyes that you find on the coconut. There are three different eyes which you find on the coconut shells, and he had a face like the monkey's face, and it used to look very odd. Maybe the author and his friends never used to like this boy because of his nature, and that is why the author is describing him like this. लड़ाई वह हाथ पांव नहीं सिर से किया करता. And this boy used to fight not with his hands or legs but with his head. जब सांड की भांति फुंकारता सिर झुकाकर किसी के पेट या छाती में मार देता तो उससे दुगने तिगने शरीर वाले लड़के भी पीड़ा से चिल्लाने लगते. This boy always used to fight with his head, and he would whine like a bull. Sant here means bull, and bhanti funkarta means just like a bull he would whine, and he would just bend his head and go and hit someone on his stomach or on his chest. He would hit with such a force that even children twice or thrice the size of his body, they used to scream with pain. Pida means pain. हमें डर लगता कि किसी की छाती की पसली ही ना तोड़ डाले. They used to feel scared that he might break someone's ribs of the chest. छाती की पसली means ribs of the chest. उसके सिर की टक्कर का नाम हमने रेल बम्बा रखा हुआ था. We had kept the name of the hit by his or the bang of his head as Rail Bamba because his red head, we used to compare it with the रेल के इंजन की भांति बड़ा और भयंकर ही तो था, because he was as scary and big as the rail engine. So they all used to call the hit or the bang of his head as रेल बम्बा. हमारा स्कूल बहुत छोटा था. केवल छोटे छोटे 9 कमरे थे जो अंग्रेजी के अक्षर H की भांति बने थे. Our school was very small and there were only 9 rooms in that, and these rooms were set up like the letter H. दाईं ओर पहला कमरा हेडमास्टर श्री मदन मोहन शर्मा जी का था, जिसके दरवाजे के आगे हमेशा चिक लटकी रहती. Towards the right side, children, दाई or means towards the right side, the first room was of headmaster Shri Madan Mohan Sharma ji. स्कूल की प्रेयर प्रार्थना के समय वह बाहर आते और सीधी कतारों में कद के अनुसार खड़े लड़कों को देख उनका गोरा चेहरा खिल उठता. During the time of the prayer, he would come out of his room and looking at the straight rows of children who are standing according to their height, his fair face used to become very happy. कतारों में means in line, कद के अनुसार means according to the height. लड़कों की तरह ही कतार बांधकर उनके पीछे खड़े होते सारे अध्यापक, and all the teachers would stand behind him in a line just like the boys. केवल मास्टर प्रीतम चंद पीटी लड़कों की कतारों के पीछे खड़े खड़े यह देखते थे कि कौन सा लड़का कतार में ठीक नहीं खड़ा. Only their PT master used to stand behind the boys so that he could see which boy is not standing in a line. उनकी घुड़की तथा ठुड्डों के भय से हम सभी कतार के पहले और आखिरी लड़के का ध्यान रखते, सीधे कतार में बने रहने का प्रयत्न करते। We used to be so scared of his beatings that we always used to stand perfectly in a queue. And for that, we always used to see the boy standing in the first and in the end, the beginning of the queue and in the end of the queue, so that they could all be in a straight line. And they always try to be in that line so that they don't get any beatings from the PT sir. Seedhi, but nowadays, children, as all of you know, in general, teachers don't hit children, right? सीधी कतार के साथ साथ हमें यह ध्यान भी रखना होता था कि आगे पीछे खड़े लड़कों के बीच की दूरी भी एक सी हो. Not only we did not have to pay attention only to the fact that we are standing in a straight line, we also had to see that the distance between each boy is the same. सभी लड़के उस पीटी से बहुत डरते थे क्योंकि उन जितना सख्त अध्यापक न कभी किसी ने देखा न सुना था. All the boys were very scared of the PT master because none of us had ever seen such a strict teacher, nor have we heard about such a strict teacher. यदि कोई लड़का अपना सिर भी इधर उधर हिला लेता या पांव से दूसरी पिंडली खुजलाने लगता तो वह उसकी ओर बाघ की तरह झपट पड़ते और खाल खींचने के मुहावरे को प्रत्यक्ष करके दिखा देते. He was so strict that if a boy would even just move his head to this or that direction, he would jump, or maybe suppose he scratches one of his legs with another leg, he would jump on him like a tiger, and he would be so tough on him that it would be like exactly showing the like muhavra or idiom of khal khinchna, showing an example of that right in front of us. Khal khinchna, children, it's yet another muhavra. It means to beat someone very badly. Children, hope you're all enjoying and understanding the lesson. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Thank you so much. Okay, in case you have any doubts, do let me know also. यह देखते थे कि कौन सा लड़का कतार में ठीक नहीं खड़ा.